in with reports of a ceasefire that has been clinched between Azerbaijan and Armenia after the latest round of clashes in Nagorno-Karabakh. Now, according to Interfax, Armenians from Nagorno-Karabakh have agreed to lay down their weapons, and a meeting is set for tomorrow. We can now bring in France 24's Kethevane Gorjestani from our International Affairs Desk. Kethevane, great to see you. Talk us through how exactly we got here, because we do have a lot of international calls for peace. We had Paris, we had the Pope, as well as the Americans and the Russians, in fact, who told both sides to lay down their weapons.
Yes, well, these tensions had been simmering really for months and really for decades, for 3 decades, basically going back to the Soviet Union. This has been a flashpoint. Nagorno-Karabakh is a small enclave. It's ethnically Armenian, but the international community recognizes that region as being part of Azerbaijan, as we see on this map. Now, back in 1991, Nagorno-Karabakh self-declared its independence and had de facto ruled itself since then. This led to the first war in Nagorno-Karabakh, which ended in 1994. Back then, the Armenian separatists basically controlled most of that region. Then there was a second war, the one closest to us, back in 2020, where Azerbaijan regained control of some parts of Nagorno-Karabakh, and there was a ceasefire agreement implemented with 2,000 Russian peacekeepers there to oversee that the ceasefire holds. Then in December 2022, Azerbaijan began blocking the only road between Nagorno-Karabakh and Armenia called the Lachen Corridor. And this was followed in April of this year by Azerbaijan setting up an actual security checkpoint on that road, basically blockading Nagorno-Karabakh. And so this has been really brewing for months now. And there was a call this morning by the president of Azerbaijan saying the only way we're going to stop our operation, the anti-terrorist operation, as he called it, was if these separatists laid down their arms. It seems, at least according to those Russian media sources, that this has happened and could bring to an end at least this latest round of violence.
So we do have information coming, and this story is, of course, developing as we speak, with Karabakh separatists who are set to hold integration talks with Azerbaijan on a Thursday. Let's talk about this angle, Kethevane. What does Russia want in all of this? Because they have also issued calls for peace.
Yes, and Russia is a key player in this conflict, really, in Nagorno-Karabakh, not only because they have those peacekeepers after that ceasefire, but because Russia has always been an ally traditionally of Armenia, dating back to the fall of the Soviet Union, when Armenia decided to go the route of being protected by the Russian state, really solely relying on Russia for its protection, joining a military alliance of post-Soviet states. But in recent years, you've sort of seen Russia and Armenia sort of drift apart. Russia unable or unwilling or both to really protect Armenia, protect the Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh, which has angered Armenia, and Armenia under the leadership of the Prime Minister, Nikol Pashinyan, starting to turn towards the Europeans, which of course, and to the West, which of course has angered the Russians. One Russian, very angry, posting on social media is the former president, Dmitry Medvedev. You can see part of what he said. He was referring, it seems, to Nikol Pashinyan, saying that he decided to flirt with NATO, and his wife defiantly went to our enemies with cookies. Guess what fate awaits him? He's referring to Armenia joining exercises, military exercises with the Americans. He's also referring to the visit by Pashinyan's wife to Kyiv, meeting with President Zelensky, Armenia sending aid to Ukraine, which Russia sees as their enemy, of course. And there is a a growing relationship between the leaders of Russia and Azerbaijan. There's also some gas deals there. So Russia also sort of doing a balancing act between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And finally, there is the war in Ukraine, which means that the Russians are very busy somewhere else, not maybe paying as close attention to Armenia as the Armenians would like. And so the Russians really, it seems, according to Nikol Pashinyan, are not doing their job, not helping out as much as they would want. And it seems that this position by the Russians to sort of play both sides is not sitting well with the Armenians.